You know, it starts quietly. A tiny hand slipping into yours when the adults are too lost to notice. A child learning that tears make the room heavier, so they swallow them like medicine. We think strength means never breaking. We praise the ones who hold it together, as if composure is the highest virtue. But sometimes, silence is just another word for exhaustion. Sometimes, the smile that never wavers is a mask glued on with old tears. And maybe what looks fine from the outside is where the deepest pain hides, curled up like a child who was told to be quiet so the grown-ups could breathe. You know the feeling. It's the way your body knows someone's mood before they speak. The way you can feel the temperature drop in a conversation and immediately step into warm it. It's the way you wake up already scanning the horizon for storms, not weather storms, but emotional ones, because once, your survival depended on predicting them. You became the human thermostat, the emotional janitor, the one who cleaned up feelings so no one had to step in the mess. You learned to be strong too early. Strong when the lights went out and no one came to check. Strong when the yelling started and you hid your siblings in the closet with stories you made up on the spot. Strong when the report card came home perfect because failure felt like proof you weren't worth the trouble. It's the quiet ache that follows you into every adult room. The way rest feels like betrayal. The way joy feels suspicious, like a visitor who might leave if you get too attached. The way you can sit in a circle of friends laughing, and still feel like you're on the outside of your own life, watching through glass. You became fluent in everyone else's languages. Their silences, their half-sentences, their unspoken pleas, but your own voice got lost somewhere between "I'm fine" and "Don't worry about me." It's the way you apologize for taking up space, for needing a glass of water, for existing when someone else is hurting. You learned that love was a resource you had to conserve, ration, distribute carefully, never to yourself first. Do you ever feel like you're always the one holding everything together, while inside, something is quietly coming apart? Have you ever smiled through an entire day, perfect mask in place? While your chest felt like it was cracking open one rib at a time? Have you ever lain awake at 3 a.m., replaying every conversation, making sure you gave enough, fixed enough, absorbed enough? Wondering why you still feel empty? This isn't weakness. This isn't just how you are. This is the hidden pain of people who learn to be strong too early, a wound dressed in armor so thick no one notices it's bleeding underneath. Let's go deeper into the psychology behind this, and why so many of us walk through life carrying an invisible child who never got to put down the weight, without even knowing how profoundly it shapes every step. The first thing you need to understand is, the child who learned to be strong too early never actually stopped being a child. She's still there, inside the adult body, holding the same posture, shoulders slightly forward, ready to catch whatever falls. In psychology, this is parentification, when a child becomes the emotional caretaker, the regulator, the container for feelings too big for the adults around them. It's like being handed a lighthouse to operate at age 7, while no one ever taught you how to swim in the dark water below. Maybe you grew up translating your mother's silences into reassurance for your siblings. Maybe you became the family therapist before you knew what therapy was. Maybe you learned that your job was to keep the peace, no matter the cost to your own heart. Philosophically, this plants a seed. I am only lovable when I am useful. The soft healing takeaway? You were never the lighthouse. You were the child who deserved to be guided safely to shore. But here's where it gets heavier. That early role became the blueprint for your entire nervous system. You developed what polyvagal theory calls a high sympathetic tone, always slightly mobilized, always ready for the next crisis. Your body learned that calm was dangerous because calm once meant no one was watching. It's why you feel guilty in stillness. Why meditation feels like waiting for the other shoe to drop. Why you can manage a corporate merger or a family emergency with grace, but crumble when someone asks, "What do you need?" Because needing was never safe. Needing meant becoming the burden you spent your childhood preventing. And this is the part nobody talks about, you. Became addicted to being needed. Not in a dramatic way, but in the quiet, corrosive way that makes emptiness feel like failure. Emotional self-neglect became your native language, ignoring hunger. Until someone else mentions food, postponing rest until the list is done, silencing your own pain because others have it worse. It's like living in a house where every mirror is turned to the wall. You became an expert at seeing everyone else clearly, while your own reflection stayed hidden. Maybe you've noticed it in the resentment that leaks out sideways, snapping at small things. Crying in the car, feeling inexplicably angry when someone finally does try to help. Philosophically, this is the cost of false strength. You saved everyone else, but lost the map to yourself. The gentle revelation? Noticing the resentment is the first map line appearing. Now, this is where healing quietly begins, the moment you turn one mirror back around. Boundary fatigue is the body's way of waving a white flag you were never allowed to raise. In simple terms, your yes became a reflex wired in childhood. Saying no felt like abandoning the people who once abandoned you. But reflexes can be rewired. Like slowly teaching a hand that's been clenched for decades to open, finger by finger. Start with one small boundary. I can't talk right now, but I'll call you tomorrow. Notice how the world doesn't end. Notice how some relationships shift, and how the ones that stay become real. Philosophically, boundaries aren't walls, they're doors you finally learn to close so you can open the right ones. The healing whisper? Every boundary is a love letter to the child who never got to say, stop. The next layer unfolds gently. Shadow emotions are the parts of you that were exiled for being too much. Anger that wasn't allowed because it made waves. Sadness that wasn't held because it made others uncomfortable. Neediness that was shamed because it revealed the cracks. In Jungian terms, these are the shadow selves, disowned aspects that grow louder in the dark. Like growing flowers on burned soil and calling it a garden, beautiful from far away, but the roots are starving. Maybe you feel the shadow and sudden rage at minor inconveniences. Maybe in the envy that stabs when you see someone being cared for without earning it. Maybe in the depression that settles when life finally calms down, because calm was never safe before. Philosophically, integrating the shadow doesn't make you less, it makes you whole. The soft awakening? Let one shadow emotion speak without judgment. Write it a letter. Cry it out in the shower. And watch how it transforms from monster to messenger. And here's where it deepens even further. The false strength created a kind of emotional dissociation. You learned to float above your body when things got hard. In trauma terms, this is the fawn freeze response, people-pleasing combined with numbness. Your body became a vehicle you drove expertly for others, but rarely inhabited yourself. It's why you can feel disconnected during intimacy. Why achievements feel hollow. Why you sometimes look in the mirror and don't recognize the eyes looking back. Like living in a beautiful house where you only use the guest rooms. The master suite stays locked, gathering dust. Maybe you've tried everything, therapy, meditation, medication, and still feel like you're performing wellness instead of living it. Philosophically, this dissociation protected you once, but now it's the prison keeping you from your own life. The quiet revelation? Coming home to your body isn't dangerous. It's the safest place you've never been. Allowed to land? Now, this is the part that changes everything. Rediscovering inner safety means becoming the parent you never had. Somatic psychology shows us that safety isn't a thought, it's a felt sense in the body. You have to teach your nervous system, cell by cell, that rest isn't the prelude to abandonment. That joy isn't the calm before the storm. That needing doesn't make you needy. It makes you human. Like a stray animal learning to trust the hand that feeds it. Slow approach, consistent presence, no sudden moves. Start with micro moments. A hand on your chest when anxiety rises, whispering, "I've got you." Rocking gently when the old panic comes. Celebrating small wins like a child's sticker chart, because that's who you're reparenting. Philosophically, this is the great return. You weren't born disconnected. You were taught to leave yourself to stay safe. The healing truth? Coming home isn't betrayal of anyone else. It's fidelity to the child who waited decades for you to return. So maybe being strong too early was never strength at all. Maybe it was the longest, most invisible form of abandonment, abandoning yourself to keep others close. But here's the paradox that heals everything. The more you stop performing strength, the stronger you become. What felt like weakness, softness, needing, resting, is actually the peace you were forced to live without. What looked like strength was survival wearing a mask. And survival can gently evolve into thriving when the mask finally comes off. Psychologically, this means rewiring. Through repetition, every time you choose yourself without guilt, you strengthen the new neural pathway. Every time you let someone see you tired, or sad, or needy, and they stay, you update the old belief that love requires perfection. Spiritually, perhaps that early burden forged a soul deep enough to hold oceans of compassion, first for others, now finally for you. Healing isn't about becoming someone who never needed. It's about becoming someone who knows how to need without shame. It's about giving that child the childhood she missed, one honest feeling at a time. One nap without apology. One "I can't tonight" that doesn't end the world. One morning where the first question isn't, "Who needs me?" but, "What do I need to feel alive today?" Forgiveness comes in layers, first for the child who had no choice, then for the adults who taught her wrong, finally for the you who kept the pattern going long after it stopped serving. The refrain is gentle but revolutionary. You weren't too much for love. Love was too fragile to hold you. And now, building stronger love starts with the one person who was always there, you. So the next time someone calls you strong, feel the weight of that word across your chest like an old medal. And gently, finally, set it down. Look them in the eye and say, "I was strong because I had to be. Now I'm learning to be whole." And that's the hardest, bravest thing I've ever done. And if they don't understand, that's okay. You never needed their permission to stop carrying the world. You never had a childhood. But you still have a future. And it's vast. It's soft. It's unapologetically yours. It's waiting, with open hands and no expectations, for the child who learned to be strong too early to finally learn how to be held.